All right, hey everybody, this is Eric with CrossFit Encino. I've decided to try to do a bit of a video log of a concept that is very important in understanding transition and improvement in exercise. This is called training life or training age. So we're going to focus on just the box that's outlined there. And basically, exercise is a skill, just like writing, reading, math, any of those. When we are learning a new skill at a very basic level or at a very early point in that skill development, we need a lot of direction. We also need to move slow. Like we start reading by learning individual letters. Then we learn to say the letters. Then we learn to read the letters. Then we learn to combine or what the vowels, consonants, sounds, and then we learn to combine letters. And then we learn grammar. So there's a whole sequence, and we all know this because we went through school. It takes however many years it takes to learn to read. Exercise is much the same, and this graph here is what's called training life or training age, refers to the same kind of thing. So when we start out our lives as young ones, so let's this here is the x-axis here is our age, and the y-axis here is positive or negative improvement or change over time. Let's say hypothetically this is 0 right here. At the age of 0, we're born and we move into the world and we have an amazing improvement cycle. We learn and develop a tremendous amount of new skills, physically, mentally, cognitively, everything. And our improvement cycle is very steep. So we're going to travel upwards like that. And what happens is at a certain age, we start to slow down in our development. And for everybody, it's a different age, so I'm not even going to name a number here. But the basic idea is at a certain point, it coincides with when we start to become more independent. So when we start to make more choices independent of parents or some kind of guiding principle or person. And as we make more independent choices, we start to have more consequences. We take bigger risks. And we have to learn by taking risks which ones are the worthwhile ones, which ones are not. In exercise is much the same. So as we develop as a child, we develop a lot of motor patterns and skills that are really useful. And then as we age, we start to get more sedentary possibly, and we start to lose or those skills are not practiced. So what happens is our training age or actually our improvement cycle kind of levels off. And at a certain point, usually we start to decline a little bit is when we start to look for guided exercise. So CrossFit is just a form of guided exercise, but group training, personal training, semi-private, those are all forms of guided exercise. And the purpose is, let's have somebody help tell us what to do so that we can do a better job than trying to figure it out on our own. And so now this graph really comes into play. So let's say we get a new client at the gym. They want to know, how long is it going to take me to improve or reach my goal? Well, that question can be answered. It can rarely be answered specifically, but it can be answered in a general sense, which is, depending on how long you've been in a positive or negative cycle on the training age or training life graph will determine your speed at improvement. So if we've constantly been in an improvement cycle, then when we start using guided training, we're likely to still have the skills and motor patterns fresh in our mind and body for when we add in guided exercise. Let's say we're learning new movements. Maybe we've never seen those movements, but if we've been exercising regularly or playing sports regularly, we're going to have an easier time improving here. If we've been in a steady decline, let's say we're in our mid-30s, we've had kids, and we've not really had the ability or time to exercise in a structured manner for many years, we're gonna kind of decline gradually because we have to make sacrifices. We can't be good at everything at one time. When we return to exercise, the way we would start to quantify the speed of your improvement or our improvement is going to be based on the length of time that we've been declining. So if we've been, let's say this is a 10-year span where we've not exercised for quite some time. Well, versus let's say somebody hypothetically who's 22 or 23 years old, who's maybe only not exercised for their senior year of college. Our improvement as a 35-year-old individual with 10 years of sedentary lifestyle is obviously not going to be the same speed as somebody that's 23. So our speed of improvement is going to be proportional to the amount of time here. So because basically we need to go through learning new motor patterns or relearning old motor patterns. Then we need to start building stability, right? So let's say this is motor patterns and this is stability. And then we need to start adding skills. So we would go, let's say, from just learning how to mobilize and stabilize the spine and pelvis to learning how to do stuff with barbells or kettlebells or medicine balls. And then eventually we're going to learn to do things like sport-related things like plyometrics or jumping. And those are more advanced skills that require stability and control first, and maybe even a requisite amount of weight loss in order. Oh no, that didn't just happen. I'm sorry, guys. Here, let me put this back. Maybe I can cut that out. We will see. But basically, as we get to that point, we're layering capability into ourselves, and the weight loss, or whatever our goal is, aesthetic or weight loss, will speed up as we have more skills in our arsenal with which to improve ourselves. And then maybe we get up to here and we start talking about like sport, right? So our pathway is we need to start from the beginning and realize that we need to kind of live through this process, and it takes whatever time it takes for each client, but we can start to think of it based on, we need to think of it patiently as something that evolves based on the sacrifices we've made in the past, and how frequent and proper our exercise has been leading up to that point where we make the decision to join into guided exercise. So hopefully this concept helps. We think about this a lot when we start to make evaluations on which clients are better fit for which programs. So people that have been sedentary for longer obviously need more time and patience to develop their motor skills and to get to a safe place to do things that are of high intensity, maybe lateral things that require like high levels of stability so that we can avoid injury risk, which is why you see things like plyometrics in sport at the top of that graph, because if we just jump right into those things, we are basically baiting ourselves into injury. We're just kind of tempting fate, saying, I'd like to run before I can walk. So we can still meet weight loss goals and physique goals doing things that are lower on this pathway. And we need to be patient about doing these things, and we can help guide you through this process in understanding when are you going to be ready to move from stage to stage. So I hope that was helpful. I know this is kind of a long video, but I'm going to try to log some more of our thoughts because we're going to be making some programming changes for the benefit of the community, and we have been, as you've seen. I'd like for everybody to feel like they understand why we're making these changes. And if you guys have questions, please feel free to ask Evan, Jordan, myself, Koji, Kira, and Amanda, and we should be able to help guide you. So thanks, have a great Tuesday, and I will try to fix this video so you don't have to live through the falling camera.